Amber Heard, I spoke out against sexual violence and faced the wrath of our culture. That must change. Note from the editor, June 2, 2022. Johnny Depp sued Amber Heard for defamation in 2019 as a result of this 2018 Opus ad. Following a trial in Fairfax County, Virginia Circuit Court on June 1, 2022, a jury found Heard liable on 3 counts for the following statements, which Depp claimed were false and defamatory. I spoke out against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. This must change. Then, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I experienced the full force of our culture's wrath against women who speak out. I had the unique opportunity to witness, in real time, how institutions protect men accused of abuse. The jury separately found that Depp, through his lawyer Adam Waldman, defamed Heard in one of 3 counts in her countersuit. Amber Heard is an actress and the American Civil Liberties Union's ambassador for women's rights. I was abused when I was very young. I knew certain things from an early age without being told. I was aware that men wield power, physically, socially, and financially, and that many institutions support that arrangement. I knew this long before I had the words to express it, and I'm sure you did as well. By the time I was in college, I had been harassed and sexually assaulted, as had many other women. But I remained silent because I did not believe that filing complaints would result in justice, and I didn't consider myself a victim. Then, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I experienced the full force of our culture's resentment of women who speak out. Friends and advisors told me I'd never work as an actress again, that I'd be blacklisted, a film in which I was attached to recast my role. I had just completed a 2-year campaign as the face of a global fashion brand when I was let go. There were concerns about my ability to continue playing Mera in the films Justice League and Aquaman. I had the rare vantage point of seeing, in real time, how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Imagine a powerful man as a ship, like the Titanic. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or even care about the ship, but because their own fates depend on the enterprise. In recent years, the #MeToo movement has taught us about how power like this works, not just in Hollywood but in all kinds of institutions, workplaces, places of worship, or simply in particular communities. In every walk of life, women are confronting these men who are buoyed by social, economic, and cultural power. And these institutions are beginning to change. We are in a transformative political moment. The president of our country has been accused by more than a dozen women of sexual misconduct, including assault and harassment. Outrage over his statements and behavior has energized a female-led opposition. #MeToo started a conversation about just how profoundly sexual violence affects women in every area of our lives. And last month, more women were elected to Congress than ever in our history, with a mandate to take women's issues seriously. Women's rage and determination to end sexual violence are turning into a political force. We now have an opportunity to strengthen and build institutions that protect women. To begin, Congress can renew and strengthen the Violence Against Women Act. The act, which was first enacted in 1994, is one of the most effective pieces of legislation enacted to combat domestic violence and sexual assault. It establishes support systems for people who report abuse and funds rape crisis centers, legal aid programs, and other critical services. It improves law enforcement responses and prohibits discrimination against LGBTQ survivors. The act's funding ran out in September and was only temporarily extended. We must continue to fight sexual assault on college campuses while also insisting on fair complaint adjudication processes. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos proposed changes to Title IX rules governing sexual harassment and assault in schools last month. While some changes would make the complaint process more equitable, others would weaken protections for sexual assault survivors. For example, under the new rules, schools would be required to investigate only the most serious complaints, and only when they are made to designated officials. Why would we allow institutions to reduce support for women on campus who are already having difficulty coming forward about sexual violence? I write this as a woman who had to change my phone number weekly because I was getting death threats. For months, I rarely left my apartment, and when I did, I was pursued by camera drones and photographers on foot, on motorcycles, and in cars. Tabloid outlets that posted pictures of me spun them in a negative light. I felt as though I was on trial in the court of public opinion, and my life and livelihood depended on myriad judgments far beyond my control. I want to see more support for women who come forward to talk about violence. We are electing representatives who understand how strongly we feel about these issues. We can work together to change the laws, rules, and social norms that have shaped our lives, and to correct the imbalances that have shaped them.